Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into the Captain's Draft 3.0 presented by Dota Cinema and moonducktv. We are here with Team Spirit and State Gaming, game number 2. Of course, our first series of the day. Our first game of the day between these two teams was a solid one. State Gaming getting off to a fast start, but Team Spirit, in the end, they came back with the Wraith King. They came back with all of their heroes, really, and absolutely dominated that 20 to 30 minute mark. And of course, after that, the game was in hand for them, and an easy victory came through. So State Gaming looking to even up the series here as we head into game number 2 for Team Spirit. They're looking to take this 2-0 and move on to the winner's bracket. We'll have to see what comes of it. So, again, my name is Mont. With me today is Pitmuckle as well as DRASKYL. DRASKYL, how are you feeling about the second game after what we witnessed in game number 1?
I don't really feel like the first game wasn't a draft issue to me at all, which is always a good thing. It's just execution. When you have a draft problem, it's like very apparent at some stage in the game, but I think that Stake just didn't quite have the level of execution that was necessary to win. Like by 25 minutes, we talked about how their lineup should have not like just dealt a little bit of damage, but had like full map control, taking Roshan, stopping Team Spirit from getting out on the map and whatnot. But it never really got to that point. So if they can just get a little bit more cohesion, communicate better when they're taking their team fights, not have their carry tower dive with an Aegis when no one else can help them and then kind of die 2 times. I think that would be a step in the right direction. But looking at the hero pool, it's a little bit different than it was last time. We are going to see some similar bans, though DP was obvious in this pool, taking out Beastmaster, Lycan, ban out as well, getting rid of all pretty much the pushing potential of either team from the bans. So we'll see what they want to do.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, you go back to that last game, and that whole complexion of the game could have changed had they not dove with Era at that point after getting the Aegis. They had an advantage. They could have kept up the pressure by taking down towers and getting a bit of extra gold going their way, but that wasn't the case. And they had shut down Ramses, maybe not at that point, but in that game, they had shut him down early on, and so it was a bit frustrating for Stake, probably thinking about what they had done in that game, and then losing it after, only a couple of minutes. So we'll have to see how things turn out for them. They'll pick up the Lina first for themselves. Then Team Spirit will grab up the Doom, which is not a hero that is not super uncommon now considering his changes. He still is pretty good, and we'll see what they decide to pair it up with. The Brewmaster, a lot of team fight coming out with Spirit, and I am a big fan of Brewmaster. He's starting to get a resurgence. It should be a lot of fun.
He's that hero who is extremely stable, and I think Iceberg probably plays this for them. I know that they could probably put the Brew in the offlane as well, seeing as how last game Stake went aggro. Too early to tell if they're going to do the same thing this time around, but I think their options are pretty open in terms of who plays what, because I think Iceberg and Afterlife both have a pretty diverse hero pool, which is always a good thing when you're drafting around those types of players. So we'll see what Stake's response is going to be. As far as the Brewmaster itself goes, there's not really anything in the pool that kind of destroys a Brewmaster in lane. If he goes mid, he can just get 1 point in a Drunken Haze. He'll be able to farm relatively well. The Silencer is a good counter to Brew during the mid game with Global Silence, for obvious reasons. Being able to lock him down, kill him before he can get the split off, that's going to be very nice. But they need something that's going to actually be like a real way of committing and getting the kill. Like typically Silencer, I think most recently was paired with Batrider, I want to say.
Yeah,
and
that sounds right.
Didn't Alliance run that actually?
I've seen some American teams run it. I'm not sure. Alliance probably did run it. Yeah, they did actually. I remember EGM playing. Yeah, EGM was playing it. Yeah, I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's like the normal pairing that you see, but it can also work with any sort of blink initiation and the stun and good follow up with a Lina and a Wraith King.
You have 2 tanky frontliners, and then you say, okay, well, what do we draft with that? What do we decide to go for? Let's get a hero that actually accelerates our farm even further with the Bounty Hunter, and then a Keeper of the Light who just puts out waves effectively enough and recall heroes into fights. And that is a very, very strange support duo. Stake will go for a Templar Assassin and Centaur Warrunner Tier Lord. Those picks were quick. So they've got some good team fight. Maybe they pair the Silencer with the Centaur up. We'll have to wait and see. But this draft suddenly has turned very topsy-turvy, DRASKYL.
Well, the Centaur makes sense for Stake aiming for sure. And TA is one of those heroes that's very hard to gank. Like with what Team Spirit have right now, Coddle can't gank for the Brewmaster. The Bounty Hunter can be a nuisance and kind of sit mid. But in the same regard, Stake could also just put the Silencer or the Lina there, assuming that they're both going to be support in this case, because it's probably just going to be Wraith King core, Centaur offlane, like Silencer, Lina support, right? So, and with that being said, I think, okay, they're just going to go for the hard counter pick instead. Yeah, so we're looking at potentially a 2-1-2, an offlane Doom, safe lane Brew, and then they're just going to put Iceberg on the Viper and mid just to get a lane counter going, which I think is really nice, because if Team Spirit can win their lanes and they get track up and they start team fighting, It's going to be very hard for Stake to keep up with that. And Stake have a cooldown-oriented lineup, which means they need Wraith King, Silencer, and Centaur to all have their ultimates up at the same time for their team composition to really reach its peak. And I also feel like their lanes might not be... They're not bad, but I think Team Spirit might get a bit more out of the early game just because of the coddle.
It feels like a sort of, maybe not a complete reverse of, the laning phase coming up for Stake last game. They certainly aren't going to have a fun time with the Templar Assassin. Viper is going to have a great time in that matchup. He might take some Sideblade damage, and, well, the TA can, of course, stack up creep camps and, of course, get up to his level 2 Sideblades and go to work on the Ancients. But we'll see if that's actually going to be the case. They might need some help killing this Viper, and the good thing is they have some really good early team fight going the way of Team Spirit. You have Viper who can just rotate and get a mech early on, and once you have that, you can start fighting with your Brewmaster, Blink, Clap, Split. Split's going to be really good because you pop up the Cyclone on maybe the Wraith King or the TA or somebody, and then you go for somebody else like a support. So Spirit, I think they have a really, really good composition here. I'm not sure about the Keeper of the Light support, but everything else I think is pretty damn solid in my opinion.
Well, the nice thing about the Keeper is that a Brewmaster with a Keeper of the Light actually has pretty decent wave clear. Like, his new kit's kind of hard. It's on a 13-second cooldown, but if you get level 4 Chakra, it's only 7 seconds, so you can push waves pretty easily. You should be able to zone any offlaner just because Mana Leak is incredibly strong and very underrated, I feel. But we have seen more Keeper of the Light recently, and I think that his resurgence will continue to grow. But I still think that Team Spirit, I like their draft during the mid-game, fighting into Primal Split. If you don't have the execution on Stake to get the global out and kill the Brew, or kill the Doom before their ultimates come out, then I feel like that team fight is already just like a losing battle for you. So we'll see how much they can do with their lanes. Can they get to their key items quickly enough? I like the Wraith King pick a lot, actually, from Stake, for the same reason I liked it last game. You don't really want to doom a Wraith King unless you know the Wraith King can't do anything else but auto-attack, I suppose.
The battle begins.
There are some other Doom targets, though. I feel like, like you mentioned, it comes down to Fog. Can I get that global silence stuff before Doom comes down? Otherwise, Slicks is probably dead. They're going to use the Shadow Walk with Goblack. He's going to maybe harass out Fog or Slicks. Fog just maybe looking to stack up some camps or head towards the top lane to help at that Centaur, which we talked about earlier. Goblack is looking for a Courier Snipe, maybe, but it's going to be a while before that comes in. We'll have to wait and see. And they'll drop the Sentry Ward down on the high ground, which is pretty solid for Slicks. And he goes for the level 1 Sideblades just to get some room. They're even going to use the last word up on Iceberg to harass him as best as possible.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Goblack is going to have too many places to go in this early game. He's most likely just looking for the Courier, but he's probably not going to find it. Everyone is so used to the Bounty Hunter roaming, going for the Courier Snipe nowadays, that it's very rare that you actually get that kill.
They're not going to be easy either, because Slicks is not going to get his battle for a long time, so he'll have to wait a long time. He'll have to wait, maybe looking for some stacks. Fog's already stacking up, I believe, this camp. No, he's just going to go ahead and right-click it down and take some farm for himself. He kills one of the Satyrs. It's not bad. Let's get up to almost level 2. He's got his last word. He can use again, which he will onto the Viper. He'll get some right-clicks off. Courier coming in. Looks like it will be his salve, I think, fair to Iceberg, and it was. He's going to get silenced up. Not that that matters, really. His right-click is good without poison attack. Courier comes out. Oh, but Goblack's already down bottom. I had completely forgotten. He moved down there. He's looking to stop this pull for Seal Kid. So early on, just standard laning. I don't think we'll see any too big of a harass or team fight coming through for either side.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty static laning phase, I feel, as well. The nice thing for Cinderin is that he can actually get some experience. Needs to be careful, though. He's going to get Mana Leak, but it's not going to be enough to get stunned.
Not a Mana this stun, though. He will chase down Always Want to Fly. He gets him low enough, it could just double edge, and that's a kill. So he needs to be careful himself as well, but this Brewmaster is going to get free farm. He's going to get 8 last hits, and we'll probably see a pretty early Blink tag. We have seen some games where a Brew gets free farm in the safe lane and he'll go Midas. I don't think that's going to be one of those games. I think he's going to get Blink because they have really good mid-game team fight. And we'll see what happens. Also, Afterlife has a Iron Talon. He clearly is jungling at his hard camp. He's already level 3. He's got a Dark Troll Summoner with the Ensnare up as well. So I like how Team Spirit are doing right now. They're doing pretty well for themselves. And somehow Slicks is doing well. Meanwhile, top lane, they will get the kill on Cinnamon coming out. The clap came through. They're going to go ahead and Chakra Magic up as well.
Mana Leak, man. What a skill.
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good ability. Here comes Goblack. They're going to find him. The Sentry will go through mid. Fog's in trouble. They might lose yet another hero. The right click is going to come through. He'll Fairy Fire up. He'll try to stay alive for the time being. Goblack has to leave. They don't have detection. Miss. Iceberg cannot get the kill. The miss up onto the high ground is too much, and Fog will stay alive. Cinder gets the stun off. The double edge could go through. Slicks needs a right click or two. It will not be enough. He'll bottle up as well. The last word might bring him down. No, he'll bottle
Nice.
through it. He'll be
He's
okay. Yeah. What a fight, man. Okay, we were completely... I was, like, so wrong about teamfight early on. I mean, that's 2 minutes in and people are fighting at mid lane already. That's pretty nuts.
I mean, the top death was pretty much a mistake.
Right.
But what happened middle was just a bounty hunter rotation. Like, most of the time when fights happen, it's going to be around where Goblak is, because he's the only one on the side of Team Spirit who can reliably move around and cause really any problems for anyone. And I think what's most likely going to happen in this game is I do believe that you were right when you said Ramses was just going to rush Blink, because Goblak will eventually need a lane to go to, and I feel like the only place he can really go is the safe lane or mid. And I don't think that Iceberg is going to have any intention of like going to the woods and vacating mid for a bounty hunter. I think it will most likely be Ramses who will do that. And it's not even like Afterlife needs the lane. The guy is almost level 5, and it's 3.5 minutes in. Iron Talon plus Devour jungling is incredibly strong.
Yeah, oh my god. I was watching a game you were playing that was with Scriff, and he was playing the Lone Druid, and he got the Iron Talon, he got his rating super early, and that seems to be the case for all Iron Talon junglers. Like, just the ability to farm is so damn good.
As long as you can sustain, that's the problem. Like, you need to have a hero who jungles who can actually keep himself alive without having to ferry ridiculous amounts of regen. But yeah, Lone Druid, Doom, those types of heroes do very, very well in that position. Even other heroes like Juggernaut or Legion Commander with Iron Talon. Not that I'm advocating jungling these heroes, by the way.
Don't do it, please. Not in our pubs
It's
anyways.
much faster than it used to be. That's all I'll say.
Then he's going to come in, he's got a double damage from the last one. We'll go, the Stomp will fly up as well. They should be able to get this kill. The Double Edge will fly and get that last hit for Cinder, and it will. And Iceberg will fall. And meanwhile, Goblak has been spotted out. They pinged him here. There's a sentry very close to where he's standing. But he will stay alive and hold back up away. Also, Afterlife got Unholy Aura. It's not the most regen in the world, but it allows you to maybe sort of sustain. He's going to go back home, though, nonetheless. And he's already up to 1,400 gold, so that's pretty good stuff.
I wonder if he goes Midas or did he just buy boots? Like, back when Jungle Doom was a thing, people used to always just buy boots and bottle and like go for runes and whatnot just to keep their mana going. But okay, he does buy boots. Looks like he might just go for Midas though if he's holding on to 1,000 gold right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious myself. He could go for that route, but again, we talked about the early game presence coming out from these teams. Like, obviously, Ramsey's going to be getting Blinky. He's very close to it. You have down bottom, always on the fly, getting up to his level 6. They'll rotate him back down towards this jungle area, towards this this hard camp. Go ahead and... Yeah, I'll just take the Hellbear Smash, get the Thunderclap as well. And look at where Goblak is situated. He's level 2. This is a big problem. Obviously, you don't expect a bounty hunter to be extraordinarily experienced, farmed, but at this point, he's got nothing. He's got
It's okay, though. If you think about his role in the game, it's not necessarily meant to get experience during the early stages. It's more meant to keep track of where the supports are.
Right.
Because if you think of it this way, sure, Goblak isn't getting anything, but Afterlife is getting a shitload. Like, even middle lane, Slicks might be going down here as well.
Strike. They don't have meld up on him. He's going to fall. Goblak comes in. The right click coming through. Not enough to bring him down. It's going to be close to tower hit. He actually gets bought up, but it'll fall anyway.
That was a max damage tower hit, I think. Because Bounty Hunter has 6 armor and he got bottled. That was like a max damage hit for sure.
I can't believe he died there. That was so close.
Yeah, I thought he was fine, actually. That's really unfortunate for him. But, as we were talking about, Goblak's job is only information gathering. All he needs to do is keep Afterlife safe, make sure that any gank going towards mid Iceberg at least knows about before it happens, because he is the most likely gank target, considering the fact that Brew already has Primal Split going, and Afterlife is never showing on the map. So he is pretty much priority number 1 for Stake in terms of killing, because he's the only one that they can see and know that they can kill without global. So with that being said, his job has pretty much been done. I think a lot of the time people watch a game and they see a hero at level 2 at 6 minutes and automatically think that he's been doing a bad job. It's not really the case.
Yeah.
He's pretty much been doing exactly what he needs to.
I mean, and this is just general bounty hunter play. Being a super early level starved is not that big of a deal, especially when you're getting a safe lane experienced farm to work with. And now they know, because Ramses has got his Blink Dagger ready to go. So he can find kills, he can roam around the map, he can be effective elsewhere, and they can give experience to Goblak, or he can come back top and keep farming, or maybe you just try to kill Sind, who's not having the best game. He's level 4 in comparison. This Doom's level 6. This Iron Talon jungle is insane. He's up to 1,700 gold. If he wanted to buy the Midas recipe, he could. He's choke point jungling. He's going to get the Alpha Wolf, so he's going to have crit going his way, or Pack Looter's Aura as well. Now the jump in, clap top lane. They're trying to get off that split, but they did get off the stun as well, and they're going to back away. They thought about it there for a second. The split was not able to get off in time, and Cinderwin will survive.
Yeah, he might need to go for Arcanes or something, or get a bottle. I suppose he's carrying around a Mango right now, which should be enough actually for at least one combo. And the Midas is going to be the choice there for Afterlife, as we kind of spoke about a bit earlier. But you can already see the problem that Sticker running into. This Viper, even being ganked, it's kind of a lot for them to deal with. Between their supports, they don't really have the damage to kill it. Viper versus TA is already a mismatch end of itself, and in that regard, Slicks is actually still farming very well, but he did have supports kind of sitting there. So when we're talking about Goblak and his movements around the map, because he knows that one support's pretty much always going to be mid, he knows that his off laner is getting free farm, his mid laner is almost getting free farm, and his safe laner is farming on top of that. So as long as their item timing is good, then they're looking Gucci.
There's the Stompson's gonna get caught out. They have Doom, but they won't even need it. It looks like the clap will come through. He does not have his ultimate. They do not have the Stampede, and now the Scorched Earth will be popped. They need a couple more right clicks. They don't want to use these abilities. The Doom will end up coming out, and there's going to be the Janana proc as well, and the right click, and that'll grab the kill as Afterlife with a Doom and a tick and the Scorched Earth tick will pick up Cinderin, who is having a pretty rough game at this point.
Yep. I think that Stake's laning phase, I said it during the draft, I didn't think it was as strong, but it's also very heavily dependent on what the supports of Stake do, and Fogged and Sealkit up until this point have been playing it fairly greedy. They might catch Always Wanna Fly, though.
They have LSA, and they'll just barely miss the Dragon Slave, the Wraith Fire Blast. He should fall here. They can rotate in a hero or two. They're going to TP in with one. Viper's going to come through. This is bad. Fog has to TP away. Sealkid will do the same, and they will both survive. There's no way he could have gotten that kill, and now Iceberg is stuck until he kills this creep, and he'll be able to finally get out. That was a pretty funny play and pretty smart play. And look at this. Slicks immediately goes to work on the Tier 1 tower, and now he gets some room to work with, but only until the Viper gets back with his haste room.
Yeah, it's a little bit of breathing room for Stake. And it's not like they're farming poorly on their cores. It's more a matter of, in terms of overall map efficiency, Team Spirit are coming out ahead, and that's just reflected in the golden experience. And
Yes.
again, that's with a hero who is level 2 at 6 minutes. Now he's level 5 with Arcanes. He's almost completely recovered from his early game kind of scouting that he was doing. And at this point, the closer he gets to 6 and the teamfight potential of Team Spirit comes online, the scarier it's going to be. And I think that Stake realized this, and they want to try to take at least one teamfight before track becomes available, as they smoked up 3 here.
They're going to maybe look for that top lane. We'll see where they're going to be headed. Fog will lead the way, interestingly enough. He's got his Global Silence ready, so he is level 6. They're about to run into Afterlife, and he is low in HP. Fog's smoke has not dissipated. It was close to doing so. They're going to walk up. Goblak's going to walk through. They need detection. They're going to jump in instead on the Viper. Iceberg's going to get caught. There's the Dragon Slave. LSA will fly as well. Does he have stick charges? He does. He can't get them off, however. And Stake will find a kill as Goblak's a little bit too late to the party. Nice gank there. Can they get anything else on top of this, like the Tier 1 tower is the question.
And they should get some decent damage here, and that's just, again, showcasing the power of Stake when they have their ultimates available. They didn't even have to drop Global on that. Just imagine how much stronger it's going to be when there's no rebuttal coming out from Team Spirit. It doesn't matter if there's 5 heroes there. They pop a Centaur ult, they pop a Global, you get a couple of stuns onto one hero, that hero should die pretty much every single time. And that was also without Sealkid even having Laguna Blade available. He's 23 experience away from 6, he gets that. Their potential for killing that hero becomes like almost 100%. It's very hard to fail that gank. So with that being said, they can kill the Brewer, they can kill the Viper, they can kill the Doom, all great targets. Heck, they can even go for Bounty if they don't want to worry about track, but I think that's probably the least likely target that they would want to get.
It all comes down to lockdown, right? Because obviously the Brew can split, the Doom can Doom, and maybe scorch himself away. So if you get a good stun off, whether with the Wraith Fire Blast or otherwise, the Blink also coming out for Cinderin will give them even more chance for success on some of these ganks. And he's recovered nicely. He's got his level 7 now. They've given him safe lane farm after roaming, coming out from State Gaming. They pick up the Midas now coming for the Wraith King as well. So obviously State Gaming are a little bit behind, but look how much they've recovered. The gold graph was 2,000 in favor of Spirit, and now it's even. It's 0 at this point, DRASKYL. Dear Lord.
Yeah, it's their teamfight potential that's the scariest thing. The way that Team Spirit have to play this is they can group up and try to take fights, and they want to try to bait out an ultimate. Like, they want to try to bait a Global, they want to bait a Centaur ulti. If they go for a hero pickoff and they use a Global or a Centaur ulti for it, I think that Team Spirit are actually okay with that, as long as they're not also losing towers in the process. And in that regard, they're just going for a trade right now. I think this is also fine. Fighting into the full 5 versus 5 of Stake seems a little bit scary, at least right now. And it's only going to get worse, actually, think about it, just because the Blink Dagger coming up on Cinderin, like you already mentioned, is going to make it a lot more potent. And unlike a lot of other Blink initiators, Centaur has the added benefit of Stampede, making it so your team can always follow up your stun. That's the really nice thing about it.
Meanwhile, Spirit go for a cheeky play. They will go for Roshan. It'll take some time, but they will be able to get this and the Aegis. The classic Tier 1 tower top for Roshan trade on the Dire side.
Well, they also got the Tier 1 themselves, so it's actually just better for Spirit if they get Roshan and the Tier 1 trade.
And clearly Stake, obviously there's a good chance they don't know about this, and even if they did, I'm not sure if they would want to fight. They have really good team fight, but Sin does not quite have that Blink Dagger yet. It's close. but no cigar. And so they'll take the Aegis, they'll pick it up for the Viper, which makes him pretty damn strong. He's going to try to get to his next item, whether that's a mech or something else remains to be seen. He's got his bottle up, and he's got his Kilo as well. There's the blink now coming out for Synderen. And so maybe Stake decide, okay, we can fight here, but we'd have to fight in the Aegis. Might want to just back up and farm. We'll wait and see what Stake wants to do up against Spirit.
I think they want to wait for at least Slicks to finish his Deso, because he's kind of closing in on it right now. And I think that once he gets that going, they actually have like insane damage output, and they can blow somebody up before they're able to do much of anything. I think it's even so bad to the point where Ramses is contemplating going first item BKB after Blink.
That's not great.
Era?
They're going to jump in. Clap's going to go. Era's going to get caught. They're going to use these, Primal Split, and Era's going to get blindly lighted back, and Era's in a lot of trouble here. He's going to die one way or the other. Yes, that'll be his reincarnation. But,
they have to leave him, I think.
Yeah, he's just going to die twice. Global's going to come out. Maybe not. Nice. He's running away. The Stampede comes through as well. The Blink is up and ready to go, and they're going to find him still. He's going to try to TP out. Can they stop this with the Infernal Blade? It's the Doom instead that gets it done, and Era, he wastes a lot of the ultimates coming out for Team Spirit, but they still get a huge kill. He was second highest in net worth, and now Team Spirit will get all that money going their way.
It might be a tier 1 too. They brought everybody up here. I think they just want to kill the tower on top of the 2 ultimates being expended. So this is like the worst case scenario, right? You lose your core, you pop both ultimates. We talked about baiting them out. That's pretty much what they did. Is it worth using those ultimates to save your Wraith King? I don't even think it is, because he TPs away, maybe he lives, you still lose your tower. Like, that's not even a trade, you're just flat out losing. So I'm not sure why they decided to use the ultimates in the first place.
And Era should not have been up in that position either, I don't think. He just goes down right near that tier 2 tower.
I think he was assuming his team was a bit closer, and maybe wasn't expecting quite as big of a commitment as Team Spirit threw at him. But either way, it looks like Stake are going to be trying to trade in the meantime, just going down bottom lane, poking at the tier 1. But with those ultimates, I think they actually just keep going. I don't think Team Spirit have a reason to back.
No. The Reincarnation's down forever, Stampede's down for 20, Global's down for a minute, so... They will come in and TP in. They may be thinking about fighting this. Era can come through with the Wraith Fire Blast. They don't have Doom for another 55. Viper Strike is back up. Stun Honda 2 from Synderen. There's going to be the Viper Strike coming in as well. Dragon Slave will fly through. Meanwhile, Ramsey's caught out. You're looking at that Wraith Fire Blast coming. The Laguna Blade, they'll take him down, but they've lost 2 already. And Stake now getting run over. The Viper, too damn strong. They have track up Slicks. He can't afford to die. It looks like he will. The Desolator's just not doing enough. And suddenly, this turns bad. Team Spirit have grabbed 3 kills. And they've only lost the Brewmaster. Dear Lord.
I don't know why they wanted to fight that. Like, why did they want to fight? I'm so confused. They could have just kept pushing bottom.
That was strange.
Like, sure, you lose your tier 2. There's a good chance that Team Spirit get the tower, TP back, and defend, but at least you're not committing to a team fight when you don't have any ultimates. We spoke, I think, at length about how important it is for Global Silence and Centaur ulti to both be off cooldown for you to even contemplate taking a team fight. And they just got completely punished for it. Like, the first thing they do, they try to save the Wraith King. Okay, maybe that play is a little bit understandable. You don't want to give away your core for free. Backfires, they lose a tower. They're losing their second tower. They try to fight without their ultimates. They lose 3 heroes and the tower anyway. And they could even lose the tier 1 mid.
They could fight this. They do have all their ultimates up now besides Laguna and Reincarnation, but they're going to let it go instead. I would have... Yeah, they definitely should not have fallen down to that bottom lane, but... I don't know. What are you
mean top lane?
Or yeah, right. Sorry, top lane.
Yeah. But... I just don't really... Yeah, I don't understand why they decided to fight that at all. Maybe they figured that if they could go for the Bounty Hunter first, maybe they could take a fight and get like a 4v5, because Goblak's still pretty squishy. And I think Synderen saw an opportunity to jump, but I think Goblak used Shadow Walk right out of range of the tower, which disallowed him from getting the double edge off that would have potentially killed him, and then that fight just turns into a total disaster for Stake.
Yeah.
And we talk about execution, man. It is not quite there yet.
No, Stake are missing a couple of these plays, missing a couple of these fights, and just having some miscommunication in general. On top of that now, Team Spirit are starting to get very far ahead. They've picked up the mech now coming up from Goblak. Obviously, track kills, pretty big deal. Iceberg still has the Aegis, and they're hitting up the tier 3 tower. Looks like Stake might have to come back. There's the last word. It'll go into Ramses. He can't use his ultimate just yet. They might have to back away, and it looks like they might. Dragon Slave will clear up the creep wave, but Viper is chunking down this tower. The tier 3 getting destroyed. Slicks has his Desolator ready to go, but he's getting right-click slowed up. There's the slow. Viper Strike comes out as well. Iceberg still with that Aegis, really wants this tier 3 tower, and he's about to find it.
Yeah, there's not really much they can do. Oh, they might try to go
gonna
now.
jump in. There's gonna be the stomp onto one. Afterlife getting blown up. They do get the usage of that mech off, but he's dead nonetheless. Now Slicks getting chased down. Iceberg going to work. Slicks, he has his mel. He might have to use it, but he's not even tracked up anymore, so he could stay alive. LSA flies through, but here's Ramses. Split will come out. Mel will come through, and he will stay alive underneath his tier 4 tower. But look how much space this is making over at the ranged melee racks down bottom. They get the Doom off for Cinderin. And Stake are corralled back into the base. You can see it. They're going for this melee Rex. Era will jump in, trying to find Afterlife. The Dragon Slave will come through as well. There's going to be the track up. He's dead for only 2 seconds as he respawns after the reincarnation. Ramsey's in trouble. He's off the split now. They'll take the melee Rex down bottom. They'll lose Ramsey's, but look at Iceberg. Go to work. Now there's a double stun coming out from Cinderin. He's got double edge ready to go. Side trap will fly through. Slick's trying to do whatever he can. Iceberg about to go down. They lose Goblik. Viper Strike. It's a triple kill coming out from Fallen. But look how much they lost. Almost their full set of racks bottom lane. DRASKYL is now gone.
Yeah. I mean, they still come out very far ahead in terms of experience and gold, even with track. And the experience change for Team Spirit, apparently nothing, because I think the Viper actually died before TA died, right?
Yes.
I think
I
that's
don't
what
think
ended
the
up
TA died.
happening.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I think he died first, so there was no experience exchange. But I think Team Spirit will still probably be happy with that. The Doom didn't die back, which is really important. Like, Afterlife bought out, got summoned down by the Keeper of the Light, and they just kept pushing in. They wanted to make sure they dealt the maximum amount of damage that they could during that time. But even in this situation, and with the mistake that Stake have made this game, they still showed the strength of their lineup. Like the Global Silence, the initiation with the Centaur, killing the Doom, probably the tankiest hero on the team, I would imagine.
Through the mech as well, by the
1600 health.
way. Through the mech.
Yeah. With the mech, he still dies. Like that just goes to show how strong it is for Stake to be able to have their ultimates up, and why I was so confused as to why they would ever want to fight when they're not off cooldown and you're going into a 5 versus 5. But at the end of the day, they only lose 1 Rax. It's not super bad. I think Era will probably go back for a Maelstrom, similar to the build that we saw Ramses do in Game 1 on Spirit, and that will help him keep that lane pushed. And Wraith King can defend against even Megas just due to the fact that he has Vampiric Aura. So the damage is done, but it's not over yet.
Hey, what are the chances of Stake coming back into this? I mean, do they have good late gaming? I think they do in comparison. Obviously, Brewmaster.
Yeah, they can. They definitely can. The TA is going to need BKB, which is a little bit annoying for him, but he could also opt to go for Blink if he wants to combo play off the Centaur initiation and the Silencer. That is also a good choice, because that way you know that even if you don't have BKB, you're still getting that hero kill before the Silence wears off, just because, like, level 4 meld, Blink, Deso with the Centaur stun and whatnot, it should be a kill, like, most of the time.
I think he's going to buy the Blink right here.
Yeah,
Yep,
he probably will.
Yeah. So that's going to be the item he's going to go for. You know what I think about that last fight, by the way, is I feel like that Aegis did a lot of work for Iceberg. If they didn't have that Aegis, that fight is just not as good. Like, that's a huge Aegis pickup for them. That's a huge Roche for Team Spirit. And I think maybe Stake doesn't allow that, or they shouldn't allow that again, I don't think.
But it's just the experience, right? Like, if you watch the replay of this game, there were a couple of really big mistakes that Stake made in the early game. Like the first one... Actually, wait, we might have to hold that thought.
Oh, Manta almost dodged it. That was going to be beautiful, but the Wraithfire Blast comes out. They get the Dragon Slave. Boy, do they blow him up. Sure, you've got your magic distance, but damn, did you die quickly. Fall will be on a dominating spree now. Meanwhile... Oh, no, never mind. Just go ahead. Sorry.
Nah, that's okay. I was going to mention, they didn't block the large camp in the jungle. They didn't send any supports over there to even contest Afterlife during the early game.
You mean this one, right?
Yeah, the one in the off lane. So they didn't do anything to that camp at all, which means that Afterlife gets free farm. If you have the support just kind of trying to follow him around a little bit and just be a nuisance, at least it slows his farm a tiny bit. But they could also be thinking that if they wanted to commit a support to that, then their Lina or their Silencer wouldn't hit 6 fast enough. So the lineup kind of locked them into a playstyle where they have to play greedy, but the enemy team is also playing greedy and getting more than you out of the laning phase, which was, again, indicated by the golden experience graph at like 10 to 15 minutes. So they got the better laning phase. Stake made a couple of really huge mistakes when they were fighting top 2 times in a row, using their ultimates to try to save the Wraith King, which didn't work, lost a tower, fought again without ultimates, lost that fight, which resulted in not only Roshan, but them losing their bottom racks as well. So I feel like Stake continually draft good lineups. Like, you can clearly see that what they're drafting is good. It's just that they just make these really bizarre decisions, and it ends up hurting them so much.
Yeah, they've got to tighten up. I think that's definitely a fair statement. And can you imagine if they fought that top lane when they had their ultimate? If they didn't use their ultimates to save the Wraith King, if they just leave him to die, he respawns, they're at the tier 2 tower, and they fight at that... You could argue that T-Spirit aren't going to take that fight because they know their ultimates are up. Could you imagine if they took that fight in that situation?
I think if they hadn't used ultimates, Team Spirit would have not even pushed. I think they would have just backed, because it would have been too scary to fight. And not knowing it, I think at that point, did the Centaur have Blink or not? I think he was very close.
He did have it.
Okay, so if they knew that he had Blink, then they probably just would have backed and been like, okay, we get the tier 1, we're fine with that. And then they just go back to farming, which is still more space than they had anyway. And when they were making that tier 1 trade is when they got Roshan, actually. Right? When they were pushing the tier 1 bottom and the tier 1 top.
Yep.
So, yeah, Team Spirit just outmaneuvering. Obviously, a more experienced team. Stake has not been together for too long.
Spirit has been playing Dota for a long time. Some of these players have, and of course, together as well. We know what they're capable of, getting to the Shanghai majors through the qualifiers, which was a pretty impressive play for them. Everybody's sitting around bottom looking for that Roche respawn, maybe a couple at the secret shop over towards that top area, and Iceberg's going to go ahead and do some ancients. Goblak is just getting vision so heavily. He's done a great job. He will not track up because that would maybe alert them to his presence. A gem could come out here for Stake pretty soon. They might need one. What they really need is to make sure that this Roche is not taken by Team Spirit. They have all of their abilities back up, including reincarnation, global silence, everything. If they get a good global silence off, maybe they can take down Ramses before getting off that primal sweep, but he's got the BKB. That's the biggest issue. And Stake will smoke up. They're going to wrap around. They've drawn the line of what they want to do.
Afterlife's got his BKB as well on 4 gold. If they get their BKBs before this fight starts, Stake are going to get crushed. For sure.
It's coming out now. By the time that this fight breaks out, they'll have both BKBs. Goblak will break up the smoke now. Do they have detection? They'll drop the sentry down. They know that he's there. They're jumping. They get the double stun. Afterlife in trouble. Laguna Blade. He might get brought the global silence, and he bought back earlier. Ramses pops the BKB. He's still silenced up. The courier will go down. They get the BKB on the deck. The primal split will go. Seal Kid is in trouble. Era starting to go to work. He, of course, has his reincarnation at the ready. They're going to kill the Brewlings. They're going to kill the Brewlings. They're going to lose the Brewmaster. 3 dead. Seal Kid almost about to fall with the corrosive skin. He'll TP home. What a fight for Stake. They turn it around, and they will take Roche. Wow.
That timing was actually perfect. You could not have asked for a better point to start that team fight. They get the Doom before the BKB's on him. They kill him. They kill the courier. They kill 3 heroes. They get Roche. That is, again, the power of their team fight. It's not something that you can easily contest in any situation. And being showcased right there, like the global comes out, 5 seconds. You can't do anything. Like, even with the Brewmaster popping the BKB and then using Split, it's starting to become very obvious that Ramsey's impact in this game is beginning to dwindle. And I also feel like that's why Team Spirit focused so heavily on pushing that bottom racks. Like, they were playing that extremely aggressive. And I think it's because they knew that the Wraith King and the TA eventually, with the support of the Silencer and the Centaur, would become a little bit too much for them to fight. So now it's kind of getting to that point where Team Spirit might not be feeling so confident about taking fights, even without both ultimates being up. So Stake, that was the game changer right there for sure.
It was. That'll get the net worth back to even for Stake Gaming. Huge fight. They'll get the Aegis for the Templar Assassin. They'll get some extra items going their way. What I really thought was pretty important was the BKB came out before that global silence came through. It looked like he was still silenced through the BKB, so he used it a little bit too early. And so he had to wait longer to pop his ultimate. Had he gotten his ultimate off earlier, maybe things happened a bit differently. However, with that said, I don't know. That was a great fight. You talked about timing. There is no better timing than what they just got. Whether that was sheer luck or somehow knowledge of knowing that the BKBs were going to come out soon enough. That's damn frightening.
Course. That's the reason why they forced it so hard, because they knew that BKBs are a really hard counter to their team during the mid-game phase, which we're about into right now. So having that knowledge is why they took the fight. Did they know the courier was there? Not until it flew over their heads, but that was like seconds difference. If Afterlife had his BKB for that and was able to pop it at the start of the fight, get a Doom off, could have seen a very, very different fight coming in here from Spirit. But Stake, they're looking pretty solid right now. That's Mjolnir completed for Era. So he's got that wave clear going. Bottom lane obviously died a little while ago, but that's not going to be too big of a deal. They have plenty of deep push for that. And now Team Spirit, I feel like, in contrast to Game 1, Stake are not on the clock. They're the team, I think, who has a much more comfortable time going late because Bruce Split is not really that good in the ultra late game. Viper, he only has a Manta, and it's 26 minutes in. Like, sure, he is sitting on 3k gold, but I don't really think Viper is that hero who scales phenomenally with items by any means. And the Doom has gone for nothing but teamfight-oriented aura items, like Vlad's drums, and then he went for the Hanamitis. So all other items would lead me to believe that they don't want the game to go on that long, whereas Stake, like, Era has room for 3 more really big items if he wants to buy them. The TA has room for 2 more items, and is making, I think, an MKB right now for the Brew, because he doesn't want to buy BKB in this game.
Yep.
So it's definitely not looking so hot for Spirit right now.
Yeah, obviously that one melee Rax does hurt Stake a little bit, but they can deal with it. Like you talked about, they have the deep push they need, and they are just going to sit back and farm. They could force a fight with this Aegis, but Spirit, they're the ones that are thinking, okay, well, we wanted to force this game out, but now we might have to look towards the late game here. And again, Viper scaling late game, not that great. Brewmaster, you saw in that last fight, he didn't die when he was in his regular form. He died. Three of his Brewlings died almost instantly. That Desolator, the right click coming out from Era, it's just too much to deal with. Some impressive play coming out from Stake. Yes, they have the Aghanim Scepter for Always Want to Fly, but didn't do nearly enough in that team fight. And so we'll see what happens next. It looks like there might be smoke coming out from somebody. Maybe not Stake. I don't know if there's anybody behind Goblak. It looks like he should be okay. BKB picked up for the Viper. There's that MKB, and now the damage gets real for Slicks. The Desolator, he's got the MKB. He can jump in with those Blink and Meld Strike as well. That's frightening.
Yeah, this is a really, really bad time
Oh,
for
they see
Spirit.
Goblak?
Oh, the Sentry!
Yeah, it's just in range, and that is a dead Bounty Hunter. Wow. Beautifully done.
Yeah, this is... I gotta say, dude, this is looking like a game 3 to me.
I didn't look that way for a period of time, but it looks like they're going to try to force this. They jump in, air, Wraithfire Blast. They are going to kill Always Want to Fly almost instantly. BKB Iceberg going to try to get out. They have a lot of right click, but not enough. That is a 10-second BKB charged, force down for a TP out and a tier 2 lost. Great fight for Era and Stake so far.
Man, I bet this is one of those replays where you watch this Team Spirit and you're like, could that fight have happened like 5 seconds later? Like, maybe even 3 seconds later? Would have been a much different outcome.
Room. Oh my god. The thing is, Afterlife got locked down so hard in that fight that even if he had the BKB, I'm not sure if he would have survived through all that damage, but nonetheless. They're going to jump in. Split will fly. They've got Air with the Reincarnation. He's taking a lot of damage. BKB will go for Afterlife. Brewlings, they doom up Cinder, and he's in trouble. He can't Stampede. They already used it in the last fight. He'll fall, so they lose the Reincarnation as well. They're looking for these Brewlings. Slicks is trying to do his best. He'll pop up the meld. Laguna Blade will fly. They get the Global off. Can they turn this around is the question. Slicks is taking too much damage. He still has that Aegis. Ramsey's in trouble. He'll be the first to fall on Spirit side. Goblak gets the track off. Shuriken Toss will go. Meld Strike. Iceberg getting destroyed. Air comes in. Gets some crits as well going his way. The Illuminate will fly through too, dead. They have buyback on Ramses, but with no ultimate ready to go. This is bad, and they only lost Sinner to the Doom. He's back up at 30, and when he is, he'll have that beautiful Stampede, and Slicks will get forced in. He'll take down the tier 3 tower. Buyback will come through to Brewmaster. They'll blank out for Slicks. Mana Leak going. He'll stay still for a moment or two. Team Spirit want to chase after this. They don't have Doom. Slicks, now they're going to turn. Afterlife in trouble. LSA, Dragon Slave in the right click of 2 tanky cores. Godlike will be the next to fall. Shuriken Toss going to work. Maybe not. He actually is just super fast with that track move speed, and they will back up. But still, Doom dead for 50 seconds. He's got buyback. Will they continue to push here? Staker thinking about it.
Radiant's middle tower is under
They dealt so much damage there, even without getting the racks. Just the amount of heroes that they killed was plenty, and they didn't really make any trade for it, so I think Stake walk away from that being fairly happy. At the very least, they can bank on the fact that both of their ultimates are going to be off cooldown for the Roshan fight, because it's still going to be a couple of minutes, at the very least, before that's alive, somewhere around anywhere from 3 to 6, I suppose. But when that happens, that's going to be the point where Stake will be the strongest. So for Team Spirit, they gotta find a way to catch somebody out. Like, they have Blink BKB on the Doom, which means that they now have some form of initiation, which they desperately needed. But the biggest problem right now is Iceberg's itemization. Like, he had to buy BKB and Manta. Like, those are not 2 items that you often want to see on a hero like Viper, who doesn't really deal a whole lot of damage in the first place.
Right.
So this hero's usefulness has been falling off pretty drastically. Goblak, he's not level 11 yet, so they don't have level 2 track. They desperately need the gold from every single kill they can get, so that's also not like the greatest thing for them right now. And even though you have a Coddle with a lot of farm, Stake just don't really care about the deep push potential. Like the Wraith King and the TA. TA is one of the best heroes at dealing with Coddle just because of the fact that Refraction stops every single blast. And if you want to go back for Manta or BKB, either of those items just prevents the Coddle from ever doing anything to you. And even outside of that, you already have MKB, so even the Blinding Light's not as good.
I mean, hell, they kill him so quickly. You saw in that last team fight, they just jump behind enemy lines, throw out a stun, and then right-click him down within 2 seconds. He's dead, pretty much. So
yeah,
these heroes, these support heroes, you saw also Goblak get destroyed on that Bounty Hunter as well. So the support heroes are really having a tough time. What you talked about itemization for the Viper. What would you build just to get damage? MKB, perhaps? What would you go for on that hero right now?
MKB is very common. He also might want to go for a and Aghanims just for the kiting for the team fight. Okay, here we go.
Clap's gonna go. They're gonna get off the global silence, but it's too late as the Earth Spirit is now up. The Brewlings are going to work an Era. Is out of mana. Slicks is doomed up. He doesn't have that Aegis, and Slicks will fall. These BKBs now going to work. They're gonna lose Era as well, and on top of that, Fog will go down. Finally, a good fight going Spirit's way, and it looks like Stake might have to buy back. They'll even lose 4 heroes as Lena falls in the other side. The only survivor
That's a
is
lot of gold.
Cinderin. That is a lot of gold and now an opening to maybe take down a tier 3 tower, DRASKYL.
That was 8,000 gold. Dear God.
Holy
okay.
crap.
Or sorry, that's 8,000 experience.
5,000 gold exchange, though.
Yeah.
Almost
But, I mean, the
6,000
total
actually.
difference is like, yeah, 7,000 almost.
They're going to lose this Rax unless they buy back. They have to at this point. There are no real big ultimates for them anymore. And meanwhile, Team Spirit, they've used all of them, but they don't seem to mind. They'll have to back up now. They should. Maybe they lose this tier 3 tower, but no buyback coming in just yet. Cinderin's going to get caught. There's the Infernal Blade. BKB for Iceberg going to work. He's in trouble. He's going to get forced back. There's the Shuriken toss. They'll take the tier 3 tower. The drum charge will be popped. They want this Rax. Air will jump in. This is troublesome. He's low, but he does have reincarnation. He's got to be careful. He's not doing anything with his first life. Sin will jump into the Iceberg. They'll jump back in with Slicks. He'll pop the right-click damage, and Ramsey's low, but not dead yet. Iceberg gonna get caught. It looks like he'll pop the Mantis Cell. They can't afford to lose Era again. He has to back away, and now this Rax is still in trouble. The Coddle Heal keeping him up, fighting fit for now. Team Spirit want to keep going. They want this Rax. State Gaming were in a good spot, but now if they lose this Rax, this is a huge problem for them, and it looks like they're about to. The Spaler Rax mid is about to fall, and it will. Afterlife will grab the last hit. Will they back away? The answer is yes. They're going to smoke out maybe the fake back. Slicks chases them down. They ping him out. And that will be the end of the engagement for now. What a fight for Spirit, those BKBs. If they're the ones to initiate, are they happy?
My God, that was like the perfect fight. The thing is, Afterlife, he could have doomed... crap, who was he going to doom? I think he was going to try to doom the Centaur or something, but then he saw Slicks instead and decided against
back.
it.
Seal Kid is going to get caught. He'll force his way out. Split will go again. Ramses has got it already back off cooldown. And Afterlife will come in with the Infernal Blade. And that will be a dead Lena. And now they'll have to fight 4-on-5 for 46 seconds and get yet another set of Rax. This range Rax will fall mid more than likely. It has got that backdoor protection for now, but the creep wave is coming in.
Man, Stakeware is so close to being in a dominant position this game. They just get caught off guard by one smoke, don't have enough buybacks, use their ultimates suboptimally, and you can see the results. Like, they are so dependent on Global and Centaur ulti, even at this stage in the game, that Team Spirit, they get one nice smoke off, and the damage shell is just insane. I think that Stake... Oh man, this has got to be like
they can
really
come back
hard
from
to
2
swallow.
sets of Rax down, but 3 sets of Rax, they have to take a fight here pretty soon. They've got Global back up. They've got their hero back in 6 seconds. They're going to try to find somebody. The drum charge will be popped. The T-Spirit are going to sit on the high ground. Now the BKBs will go. Viper pops his. They pop the Viper Strike as well. Go into this Rax. Now the Doom about to go. Can't get it off. The Blink comes out, and Slicks has to avoid it. The Meld will come through. There's the Global Silence now coming out as well. They will have to back, but Iceberg wants this Melee Rax. He's about to find it. Stop will miss. He's too fast. He's too speedy. Melee Rax top lane will go. They do get that Doom off on Slicks now. What can they do? Era's going on his own. They get the Laguna Blade off, but always want to fly. Will stay alive, and they'll lose again. That Lena. Era will fall again for the first time as his reincarnation is going. Meanwhile, the Brewlings still going to work, zoning everybody out with the cycle. You can see Cinderin is up in the air. They're going to go to work. This is going to be Megas here in a moment unless they can do something about it. The double edge, the heal from the Coddle is insane, and Iceberg is back fighting fit. He may lose his life, but they've already taken the Rax, and he won't even die. The Coddle heal again goes to work, and Stake will lose Mega Creeps. Flicks will come in and they'll get the Melt Strike. They finally will take him down, but at this point, with all of their Raxes gone, it is going to be almost impossible for Stake Gaming. They had this game. They had the advantage going their way. And all of a sudden, it's gone back down in Team Spirit's favor. And boy, did they do it in stylizing fashion. Dear Lord.
That smoke gank was just completely unanticipated. Like, they did not expect to be fought at that stage. Because, like, the Aegis was still a little bit too far away to warrant smoking for. I think it was still like 4 or 5 minutes before Roshan was going to be up. And then they just go straight in, right? So that timing was very hard to predict, and I think that's what gave them the edge. They find every single target they want to. The Doom target was perfect. At that point, Slicks is pretty much already dead to rights as soon as he gets doomed. We talked about that a little bit earlier. And even with the Global, it just doesn't matter.
There's the Shiva's Guard, BKB, and Lotus Orb is popped. He has to use some of his items to just get out of dodge, but Era taking a lot of damage just from the Shivas and the Illuminate Blast. They're going to try to go to work on Roche. This is their last chance here. It's all in at this point for Stake Gaming. If they can get this Aegis and Cheese, I think it's cheese. It is. They'll be in a good spot, but Godblock's going to come in. The track is up. Ramses is about to jump in the pit. He doesn't have split coming through. They actually blinding light up into the high ground, but Ramses going to get caught. Did they get the Aegis? It was snatched by Slicks. They got the rush of the Dire team, but here's the fight breaking out now as well. Slicks going to the wrong target. Iceberg pops up the Viper Strike, pops the Refraction now, and this man fight is being won by Iceberg at this point. Slicks has the Aegis. Now Iceberg has to leave. Last word, the right click from Fog. They're going to get a double kill. They will pick up 3 kills in this fight. They have to defend. Back at home, Seal Kid is getting overrun by these Mega Creeps. LSA will go, and they'll do their best. Meanwhile, back at the Roche Pit, Shiva's Guard, Doom, he actually can't get at the meld. It'll go into Fog instead, and now Afterlife is going to have to deal with this damage. Godblock underneath the Sentry Ward gets silenced up as well. He'll take him down. One more right click will do the job, and it will. This might be a 5-man wipe, but can they still survive with Mega Creeps going? Afterlife will pop the BKB, blinks away. Six will follow him soon after with his blink ready to go. He'll find him. Meld Strike will go as well. Wraith Fire Blast, can they bring him down? The answer is yes, they can. He's got buyback, and he's one of the few that does. They're going to try to push straight down mid, but they still will not be able to fight, as when they get back alive, they will have their Bruise split. They'll have Viper Strike. It's so tough right now, DRASKYL.
It really is, and again, they're still showing that Stake have the team fight potential. It's not a matter of if they can fight now, it's if they can defend. This is no longer a Dota game, it's Endfoes. Do you have enough heroes inside of your base to keep your tier 4 alive, the last one remaining, and can you defend your racks and fight off Spirit at the same time? Seems like it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I suppose the Doom is never to be underestimated. Like, that guy, along with the Coddle, keeping everyone like full health when they were pushing down middle lane, that daytime push when they were just like beating on mid, getting spammed by Stake and just didn't have to back. Like, that hero came in so big during this game. For a long time, Always Wanna Fly, I didn't really feel like he was having a huge impact, but as soon as they started pushing like that, it became very clear that Coddle was like the only hero who could allow them to sustain that much. Even a Dazzle would not have done the same amount as Always Wanna Fly did on that hero.
You're absolutely right. He might have just won them the game just through his sheer amount of heals. Obviously, a really good play, and that Smoke of Deceit call coming out from whoever it was for T-Spirit. Immaculate call coming through, and now Stake, even with a 5-man wipe, they have to just go back to the base, push out waves, and deal with these Mega Creeps, and boy, is it tough. And you can see already Team Spirit are ready to go back in and fight with the creep wave jumping into the base as well, which would mean tier 4 is gone, as well as the Ancient getting exposed and going down more than likely. Down bottom, they were looking to find somebody. Always Wanna Fly was going to jump in with the help of Ramses, but he's not going to go for it. No Ags for him just yet. He's got a Blink 4 staff, so there's a lot of maneuverability coming out from him. Stomp will go through. They'll find Afterlife. He has his BKB. He has his Shiva's Guard. They'll force him back as well. And at this point, not only do they have to fight the creeps, they have to fight Team Spirit as well.
Yeah, this is a really rough thing for them. The funny part is, I actually feel like with their lineup, they can still do it. Like, Slicks' damage output is completely insane, so as long as the global is on point, I feel like they could defend, like, almost indefinitely. The question is, can they do it without making any mistakes? Because if they mess up and they don't have buyback...
Well, they're going for Always Wanna Fly right now. He will get hexed up. The Blinding Light will go, but the Laguna comes out. They get the global off as well, and Afterlife has to back away, but here's the Bruise split coming through, and Era pops his own BKB. Sin's gonna get caught. If he dies, not the biggest deal in the world. Stampede's already been used up. Meanwhile, Viper Strike, Slicks just jumps in. He's got no ages. He gets doomed up. He'll fall. He has to buy back. He's dead for 83 otherwise. Fog getting just destroyed now with Team Spirits. Viper right-clicking him down. He'll get the double kill. Air will jump through, and this should be it. Reincarnation will fly. Meanwhile, they're going to find Iceberg. He's in some trouble. The right-click, can they bring him down? Yes, they can. But what about Afterlife and the Brewmaster? Air is low. Reincarnation's already gone. He'll buy back as well. But Slicks, he's going to have a dieback, and that is going to be it. Team Spirit will more than likely take this game, as Air is going to try his best to defend. Cinnamon will get caught as well, but the right-click onto the base, it's there. Maybe not. They can still defend here. Era looking for Afterlife. He blinks away, dodges the Wraithfire Blast, and the creeps are encircling the Ancient. Cinnamon will fall, so will Era, and that will be it for sure. Fog cannot defend on his own, and Team Spirit will take the game. Whew. What a close one, DRASKYL.
This was actually a really hard game for Spirit. At one point, I actually thought that Stake were going to win. Like, that their heroes were scaling in such a manner that Team Spirit didn't have the best ways of dealing with it. But it just goes to show that one good initiation inside of the woods is all you really need, like post 30 minutes, to just completely swing the game back in your favor. And I want to say that teamfight was also, was it 3 or 4 tracks? Because I know they killed 4 heroes, but I don't know if Godblock actually got a track onto every single one of them. It ended up
I would
being
imagine
something,
it did. I'm not sure, though.
It was something insane, though, like 6,500 gold and like 8,000 experience in their favor. And as soon as that happened, they walked down mid with their Coddle. And you could see at the end how how much Stake wanted to prioritize killing that hero, because a couple of reasons. One, the heal is super annoying, means that Team Spirit pretty much don't ever have to back, it was daytime. And the other one is, if somebody buys back, they can always just get pulled right back into the team fight. So you're no longer fighting like a 5v5, it could be 5v however many buybacks there are, assuming that hero is alive. So at the start of the last fight, they just blow up Always Wanna Fly, they're like, okay, maybe we can defend after this, but unfortunately Mega's a little bit too strong. I feel like Stake, for a team who has been together as long as they have, they're still looking actually pretty solid. Their drafting, I feel, is on point. I don't have any complaints about that per se. It's just getting caught off guard this game is what actually lost them the game for sure. Like that one fight in the woods, that was it. That's the game over.
That one fight, that one smoke of deceit, getting caught out, and all of a sudden this game just ends for them. Obviously, they were able to defend a little bit longer. They had a couple of good fights. One at Roche comes to mind, but it is not over yet for State Gaming. They will go down to the losers bracket, but for Team Spirit, they will move on and play up against Complexity a little bit later today. In fact, that I think is in an hour and a half time. So, in an hour actually. So we'll actually have a little bit of time we'll have a little bit of a break, so that's fine. Of course, congratulations to Team Spirit for moving on. State Gaming, hope to see more of you guys. And I know that Shannon definitely wants to cast you, so it'll probably be my last time casting them, unless they are able to win and move on, but we'll have to wait and see. So, good stuff, good stuff. Of course, thank you so much, guys, for joining us here on Captain's Draft 3.0, presented by Dota Cinema and moonducktv. Of course, this is moonducktv. Make sure you follow us on the channel over at twitch.tv/moonducktv. With me today is DRASKYL, as well as PimpMuckle. You can follow Pimp over at PimpMuckle on Twitter. You can follow myself at MottDota. And obviously check out DRASKYL's stream, which I'm sure many of you do. So definitely check that out. DRASKYL and I will be back for the next series of the game, or next series of the day, excuse me, which of course is going to be Team Spirit versus Complexity. We'll have that here in just a second. And with that said, everybody, we're going to take a break and we'll be back for Complexity versus Spirit. See you guys soon.